The reason you're stuck at the same place even though you're practicing sculpting is because you do not understand the definition of productivity. Okay? Productivity is equal to output per hour. It means how long did you sit your ass on the chair and what kind of result did you get? An example that I have. So a Jerry, what does a Jerry do? A Jerry sits in front of his computer, watches tutorials all day, watches courses of other sculptors and be like, oh, nice, nice, nice. Oh wow, it was such a productive day, bro. I sat in front of the computer for the whole day. And what did he learn? Nothing, because he never performed. Now imagine this: there's a Da Vinci, and all he does, bro, is he just sits in front of the computer for 1 hour, and all he does is he practices sculpting. Who do you think is more productive? Okay, you know the answer. Of course, it is Da Vinci. Okay, and bro, I've been on a grind since December 2023. This was the first sculpt that I made on 2023 December, and it took me about a year. This Goku that I made was the last sculpt that I made in 2024, and in 2025 you can see the kind of results that I'm making right now. And throughout this entire journey, bro, I've learned so much. And I teach other young students, and you can see that the kind of results they're getting in 14 days, 11, 20, 23, 15 days. Okay, this is my free 1 month sculpting challenge, by the way, and enrollments will close on 23rd November. So if you're interested, if you want to learn like Da Vinci, then just go check the link in the description. The point being here that it took me so long, and I just look at the kind of results that the members are getting in little as 30 days, all because I prioritize one thing, that is on you being productive. This is what I maximize for. So your output per hour, I just want to increase it. I want to skyrocket it. And how do I do this? I do this by using the 80-20 principle. Now, what is the 80-20 principle, you may ask? By the way, this video is extremely important. If you're bored, bro, then let me tell you, you're just being a Jerry right now. I promise. I showed you the results that I've gotten. I showed you the results that the students are getting, and I want the same results for you. Okay, so close all tabs, make this full screen, and watch it on 2x speed. If you feel like, oh wow, this is a grind, I have to go through it. This is not a grind. This is for you. I swear you will get results. Okay, the way that I do it is I apply the 80-20 principle. So what is the 80-20 principle? 80-20 principle tells you that 20% of your effort will produce 80% of the results. Okay, and likewise, so 80% of effort will only produce 20% results. Now your task is to identify what is the 20% that is going to get me 80% results versus what is the 80% stuff that is only getting me a measly 20% result. You don't know this. I know this because I've been through this grind, bro. And the way that I make content, the way that I make any of my programs or videos, this video as well, I just think, how would I help younger Ishaq? Let me adjust my camera, bro. Yeah. How would I help younger Ishaq get the same result quicker? That is how I apply the 80-20 principle. Now, let me give you an example of the 80-20 principle. I'm making this video. I'm having this conversation with you. Now, the English dictionary is so big, bro. There's so many words. I only use 20% of the total English dictionary vocabulary to have 80% conversations. Isn't that true? The same thing is going to happen. Just imagine yourself, bro. You talk every day to people in English, right? But you only use 20% of the whole language to have 80% conversations. You don't need to learn fancy names, fancy grammar, fancy terms. You don't. You only need 20% language to have 80% conversations. Similarly, when you're learning to sculpt, bro, you only need 20% knowledge to sculpt 80% of stuff that you see online. How cool is that? For example, you only need 20% of this entire anatomy thing. You don't even need to remember the names, bro, to sculpt characters like this. Does that make sense, bro? So the way that the reason that you're stuck right now is because you're focusing on the 80% stuff that is only getting you 20% results. If you look at this, bro, if you focus on the 20% stuff, you're basically spending 1/5 the effort, okay? And you're learning at a 4x speed. So what takes a Jerry 4 years, you learn in 1 year. What takes him 4 months, you learn in 1 month. Okay? And here's what a Jerry does, bro. Let's have a comparison between Jerry and Da Vinci. A Jerry watches a tutorial and courses and never performs, bro. He memorizes the names of the bones and the muscles. And he practices, if he practices what he feels like. It feels like a good day to learn the bicep, bro. Like, come on, bro. This is what a Da Vinci does, bro. Instead of watching tutorials and courses, he performs. He used this as study material, but the main driver, the main way he learned is by performing, by getting his hands dirty. Okay? A Da Vinci realizes, bro, that you cannot become a cook if you watch MasterChef. You have to burn a chicken or two. He observes references and shapes instead of anatomy diagrams. You need to realize, bro, that you are an artist. You are not a doctor. Okay? The third thing is that he practices deliberately, and he practices the uncomfortable stuff. And I will explain all of these points as we go down the slides. So let's first begin by watching tutorials. Okay? You can see a comparison here of a Jerry just watching tutorials, watching courses, but a Da Vinci, he performs. You need to realize, bro, that you cannot learn to cook by watching MasterChef. How many times has it been that you promised when you were watching a tutorial, meanwhile you were watching the tutorial, you promised that, yeah, bro, after this tutorial ends, I promise I will perform. The next tutorial that I watch, I promise I will perform along with it. I know this because I was the same, bro. I used to do this, and this held me in the same place for years. Okay, I was stuck product rendering, making low poly assets, whatever. I was stuck for years, bro. All because I just watched tutorials, but I never performed. Okay? Or worse, when I used to buy courses, and when I bought courses, my result did not match the result of the instructor, and I would skip around. I would go to the next tutorial. I would be like, yeah, bro, just let me complete the course, and I promise I'll come back and I will improve this. But you know how that ends, right? You never ever come back. You make yourself this promise that you will perform, but you never do. You have these ambitions that, yeah, I want to sculpt characters like these, bro, but you don't take any action towards it. You're just mentally masturbating. Yeah, let me watch another tutorial, bro. Yeah, I swear I'll learn how to make anatomy. I swear, yeah. I'll perform the next time I watch a course. You're a victim to mental masturbation, bro. You have these ideas in your head, but you don't take any action towards them. Okay? So, this is how you watch a tutorial. You only watch relevant stuff and you perform along with it. What do we mean by relevant stuff? For example, let's say you're trying to learn how to sculpt heads. What's the point of being curious and be like, yeah, let me see how people sculpt torsos. Or let me see how to bake textures. Let me see how to UV unwrap, because that is something that I might need in the future. Bro, why? You only watch relevant stuff. The stage that you are at, these things, they are for the future. You don't need them right now. Just focus on what you have in front of you. Let's say you're learning how to sculpt faces. There's no point watching a tutorial on UV baking or UV unwrapping and texture baking or making a game character. There's no point in doing that, because the moment that you reach that point, you'll already forget the videos that you watched and you have to watch them again. So what's the point? Just focus on what is in front of you. Watch relevant tutorials only and perform with them. Second thing, you do not proceed till you get results. Okay, you do not jump from a tutorial to a tutorial to a tutorial to a tutorial, because that never ends up in a good way. You just follow one instructor that you really like. How did I do this? What happened? Never mind. Okay, I think I pressed something on the keyboard accidentally. Yeah, you do not proceed till you get results. You do not jump from tutorial to tutorial. You follow one instructor. Whoever resonates the most with you, whoever makes it easier for you to understand those concepts, I'm talking about me, by the way, and follow the way that they teach. Okay? You follow one tutorial, one course, and you master it. Instead of having 100 different tutorials, 100 different courses, and they all contradict because they're all by different instructors, you pick one and you master that one. Now, when you do that, I promise you will get results much quicker. It is also going to be easier for you to understand others' concepts. Right now, you're just bombarding yourself with information that is contradicting. You focus on one source of information, you get really good at it, and then you can maybe entertain other sources of information as well, because you're at a point where you can compare, match, and also absorb those lessons. Okay, right now it's overwhelming. The third thing is do not watch but perform as well. Okay, you want to know that watching feels productive. There's a difference, like I told you here, there's a difference between feeling productive and actually being productive. Okay, so you want to be productive here. The second point that I want to address is that memorizing name of the bones and the muscles versus observing references and shape. Now let me tell you something, bro. I was working on this anatomy cheat sheet, but I'm not doing this anymore. But here you can see I covered the chest in 2 pages. In 2 pages. So let's go here. Let's start off with the chest, because why not? There's an infinite variation to the chest. Some are chiseled, some have a lot of muscles, some are big hanging man boobs. You get the point. There is no point to a man boob because it's round. But let's that is a bad joke. What the hell? I didn't even remember writing that. The whole chest can be broken down into 3 simple muscles: the upper chest, the middle chest, the lower chest. Okay, forget about the names, they are not important. I don't know them either. Yeah, I know some pectoralis major, pectoralis minor. It's because I've heard them so many times. I'm not sure which one is the major, minor. What is the third one? I don't know. Whatever. Another important detail to notice is that the chest is like a fan shape, and all of these muscles point towards one single point as shown in the diagram. Okay, that is all you need to know about the chest. And one more detail is that the clavicle, you can see that it splits in 1/3. We have the shoulder muscle attaching here and the chest muscle attaching here as well. And in between them, there is a void. That is all you need to know about chests. That is it. Okay. And just with this information, let me show you sculpts of other artists, and let's just observe, bro. So you see here, we see the upper chest, we see the mid chest, we see the lower chest. All of them go to the same place. If I remove this, you can see that here almost 1/3 of the clavicle is where the chest and the shoulder forms a void. That is it. Okay, and you can see this even in the style as reference. You can see that it's a fan shaped muscles. They all come here. You don't see the separation of the, you don't see the separation of the front, mid, top, mid, bottom, whatever. You don't see it. Look at this sculpture. Okay, again, chest is a fan shaped muscle. You can see the upper chest, the mid chest, the lower chest. All of these, you can see these lines. They point towards this point here to the shoulder, and here you can see the void. You will notice this pattern in every chest. Look at the fan shape, upper chest, mid chest, lower chest, and this void in between. So isn't this easy? Isn't anatomy easy? But some retards, they want to sound fancy to you. Okay, and they want to confuse you. Okay, you need to realize that you're an artist. You're not a doctor. Okay, and I know people who know these charts front and back. They memorize it by heart so much that I think that then if they have twin children, they'll name them tibia and ulna. That is how much they love anatomy. The anatomy gives them a boner. For some reason, when they say sternocleidomastoid, their sternocleidomastoid rises up. Yeah, bullshit, bro. And this is what I looked up on Google, bro. Okay, you can see the main chest pectoralis major inserts into the lateral lip of the intertubular groove. Like, what the hell is this, bro? Of the humerus upper arm bone, the pectoralis minor inserts to the corsoid process of the scapula, and they are literally artists out there memorizing this right now. How insane is that? This is why you feel stuck, bro. This is why it feels so overwhelming. Let's have a look. Further look, bro. Look at all of these name of the muscle. The cephalic vein, the tricep brachii muscle, the lateral head, the clavicular head of the pectoralis major. What the hell, bro? The pectoralis major is the most superficial muscle in the pectoral region. It is large and fan-shaped and composed of sternal head and the clavicular head. Like, people are memorizing this right now. And I just showed you, I just dissected the chest in just 2 pages. In 2 pages with minimal lines, bro. And I showed you the references that you see online. You're going to observe the same things over here. This is anatomy made easy. This is anatomy for idiots. You want to learn anatomy like an artist? not like a doctor. And this is what I mean by 80-20 principle. I just showed you, bro, that my goal is to optimize for this output per hour. I just want output per hour for you on steroids. And I just showed you, bro. Remember, just imagine how much time would it take you to memorize all of this stuff versus we just read 2 pages and you could observe everything easily on a reference. I taught you the why, not the how. So easily, bro. Okay. Let me see if I'm missing any points. Yeah. And also, here's Franklin. You know what a lot of these Jerrys and these Noahs and these stupid people are going to do? They're going to discuss, the pros, bro. The pros, they memorize anatomy. And bro, this is GTA. GTA 5, a triple A game. Look at the chest. Look at Franklin's chest. What is this? Do you think this is correct anatomy? Where is this muscle pointing? Is it attaching to the nipple? Okay. If this was accurate, it would have been like this, right? I just showed you. The point I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to take a piss on this artist here. No, that is not my goal. The point I'm trying to make is that, bro, sculpting for artists versus for doctors is different. Okay, there's a bit of room for error here. and this is the AAA studio game, bro. If I made this sculpt and I posted this online, people would tear me down. Like when they tear me down for trying to say that, yeah, you don't need to memorize anatomy like an artist, bro. You just need to memorize anatomy like you don't need to memorize anatomy like a doctor, bro. You need to learn anatomy like an artist. And people are commenting and then saying, oh, no, Sark, you're wrong. You need to learn the insertion, the this, the that, the that. I don't care, bro. I don't care. I'm making the kind of sculpts that I want. I'm happy making these characters. Do you want results like me? Or do you want results like those internet keyboard fighters who just type shit and then they don't even know how to sculpt, bro? They're just pushing this theory, I don't know, out of their ass or something, but they know nothing. They can't sculpt. Who do you want to follow, bro? Do you want to listen to their advice? Or do you want to listen to my advice and the way that I've gotten results and I'm helping other people get results as well? Okay? And I'll be honest for that. I'll be completely honest. I don't mind being the asshole. I don't mind being the artist. So, there's an artist called the Sculpting Brown Guy, and he says the anatomy is not important. Yeah, I will stand by this every day. I don't care, bro. I don't mind being the asshole. But for the few people that I'm actually helping, and I'm actually making a difference in their life, and I'm making sculpting for them easier, and they are enjoying sculpting, yeah, that is my win. I don't want to be the nice guy or the cool guy or whatever. I don't care, bro. I seriously don't care. I just want to optimize this output per hour. That is it. Yeah, I will stand by this every day. I'm not discarding anatomy at all. I'm not saying that anatomy is not important at all. I'm just saying that as an artist, you only need little information, a few chunks and pieces, a few muscle groups, a bit of knowledge, just 20% stuff that is going to get you 80% results. That is what I'm all for. Okay. And the last point is Jerry practices what he feels like versus Da Vinci practices the uncomfortable stuff and deliberate and deliberately. What do I mean by this, bro? Here in my courses, the way that I teach sculpting is that I have a step-by-step approach. I give you concepts. I tell you why we work on this step, why we work on this step. I give you concepts. It's not something that you memorize by mind. No. I'm showing you the steps so that it's easy for you to follow, but I'm also giving you important concepts. And the way that I tell my students to follow these courses, also the 1 month free challenge, is, let me actually show you the 1 month challenge. Here, you can see. Okay, so you can see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And in week 1, we start learning the skull. In week 2, we complete the skull. And I instruct this very carefully. I emphasize on this a lot, that bro, if you do not get results on skull level 1, do not proceed to skull level 2. Practice deliberately. Okay, here. I know it is very exciting for ambitious artists to jump from here to here. Okay, they want to learn how to make the eyes, they want to learn how to make the mouth, they want to learn how to make the ear. But bro, if your base sucks, no matter whatever you learn, it's not going to help you. You need to realize, bro, that if you put flowers on poop, okay, if I put flowers on poop, it is still poop. It doesn't matter how much I decorate a shitty base. It doesn't matter if my base sucks, bro, and if I make eyes on it, okay, if I make a nose on it, if I make a mouth on it, it's not gonna look good. It's still gonna be shit. So this is what is uncomfortable. This is what is boring. I know this is boring, bro. To practice the same thing over and over again, but this is how you're gonna grow. This is how you're gonna grow. This is what Jerry does, bro. He feels like, oh, bro, my base sucks right now. I know my base sucks, but still, let me try to sculpt the nose. Why? Bro, I just told you, if you add flowers on poop, it is still poop. So stop decorating your shit, bro. Just work on the area that you know needs to be worked on. Practice deliberately. For example, if you're stuck at this stage, okay, then don't go back and try sculpting all of this again. Just practice this stage deliberately. You already mastered this stage, right? Just practice till here. That is it. Okay. Or let's say you can sculpt this very consistently now. And now you struggle with sculpting the eyes. Don't start every time from scratch, but take this model that you can sculpt consistently now and just practice the eyes deliberately. Imagine the kind of progress that you will make this way. Just simply imagine, bro. One example is where you skip steps and then you have to come back eventually. You waste your time. The other one is that you got to this stage, you can sculpt this very consistently, but every time you want to make the eye, you start from scratch. Okay, it takes you, I don't know, maybe an hour. But what about if you just use this head and you sculpt just the eyes? Imagine the kind of progress that you will make this way. So you want to practice deliberately. Okay, and that is all I have for this. By the way, if you're interested in the 30-day health sculpting challenge, I will close enrollments on 23rd November. So better join right now. And also on my paid program, my paid courses, I have up to 30% off till the end of New Year. This is my New Year gift to you. This is because I don't want you to be like, oh, bro, my New Year resolution says I'll be a sculptor. You will not, bro. How many New Years do you need to learn this lesson that if you don't take action right now, you won't take action on the New Year? So I want you to enter 2026 as a sculptor and not mental masturbate again. Okay, that's all for today. If this video was helpful, let me know, comment down, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Here's a fist bump.